All right, good day. Welcome to another adventure in old code. Today we are going to take another step back and do an adventure with no code because there are some things I have to figure out. And just to show you why, I'm sure you remember, this is driving me bonkers. If I go to, I believe it was I don't know. This flickering nonsense on the side of the screen, no matter what I do, it seems to show up in graphics mode only. Sometimes, the majority of the times it happens, and I have no idea why. It seems to happen with all graphics modes, and it's time it ends. I'm not sure why it occurs, but clearly I've tried and tried and tried to tweak DOSBox. I mean, DOSBox has so many different options. I will, oh, not that. Come on. This is the config file for DOSBox, and it's huge. There are so many different kinds of options. Maybe one of them actually makes it work properly, but I don't know. So I want to find a way to run QBASIC that's not going to show me all those those things from behind the screen. No flickering. I just want what the program offers to be on the screen. Is that so difficult to ask? Apparently it is, but I want to go through several things I'm trying, and we'll see what happens. So the first thing I tried, even before DOSBox, was what is called FreeDOS. Now, FreeDOS is a remake of DOS. You can't go out and get DOS anymore. It's just not available. But some guys actually recreated DOS, and they called it FreeDOS, and it's an actual legit operating system that you can install on computers. And it apparently lets you play classic games, legacy software, embedded systems. It's open source. You can do all what you want with it. So I went and I installed this. Now I wasn't going to install it on my computer because it's a bit, I mean, it's newer hardware, and the old DOS systems. The problem is I'd have no way of capturing video with a nice screen capturing program to show you. And so it needs to be running while my actual operating system is running. And so for that, I use a VirtualBox. For those of you who don't know, VirtualBox emulates operating systems. You can install old operating systems. It gives you a virtual environment to run your operating system on. And so as you can see, I've got FreeDOS installed here, and I'll just show you why I chose not to do FreeDOS for my QBASIC. So we get this little tiny screen. Okay, now, as if that wasn't terrible enough, I actually have QBASIC installed. Now I could take a little screen grab and blow this up, but the problem is when you get to I'm having difficulty navigating. Here we go. Let's go back to I don't know. I mean, this is fine. You don't get any flickering, but two things. You get something very small in the middle of the screen, and you can't tell at home, but if I keep the arrow keys pressed down, it stops. So I'm still holding the arrow key, but the movement has stopped. So it seems to only accept for a little bit Like, it's very, very not good. See, I'm holding it down. Unpress, press. Now I have to unpress, press. So clearly something is not working right here. And I'm going to have to get... I wonder if... But, unlike DOSBox, FreeDOS actually does accept the control break signal. Gosh. Whoops. Okay. Anyway, that was why I never chose FreeDOS, because it's not going to be useful for my purposes. I gotta shut this thing down here. Close, power off, boom, power off. So the next thing I thought of trying is something that I knew from before. This is a group of people who apparently love QBASIC so much. No, that's not it. Oh, .org. No, that's not it either. Sorry. Where am I going? There's a group of people who have recreated QBASIC. Why can't I find them now? Who are they called? What are they called? Yeah, maybe this is it. This doesn't look like it. Sorry, folks. I'm going to have to pause the video because I don't want you to see me searching. So just 1 second. Okay, it's not qb45.org. It's qb64.org. So this is a group of people who decided that it would be great for modern computers to actually run QBASIC. And so they've recreated this. This isn't an emulation. This is actual recreation of QBASIC using SDL libraries and C++ source code. They've actually given you a QBASIC environment. And I knew about this because I used this to run some of my major QBASIC projects that I wanted to relive and for nostalgic purposes years ago. So I knew about this and I thought, okay, well maybe now, because I'm having the issue with DOSBox, I'll give this a try. But look at what I found when perusing the wiki. They have a list, legacy keywords not supported by QB64. And these are all the legacy keywords not supported by QB64. And right here is the def FN. And if you've been watching my videos, this is what I used extensively for random number generation. They say the def FN statement defines a non-recursive function in the main module that can use the module's variable values. This page is maintained for historic purposes. The keyword is not supported in QB64. Create functions using function. If older code contains def FN functions, they must be adapted to be compiled with QB64. In other words, we've gone through all of this trouble to remake QBASIC, except for a little bit of things. And why? I don't know. Now, I'm no software developer, but oh wait, I am. When you recreate something, why don't you implement all the features? This is not a difficult feature to implement. Now, I'm not going to go through the source code and try and implement this myself because, well, I'm not very good with C++, and it would take me way too long to figure out how to do this. But they could have surely implemented this. So if I were to use QB64, I would have had to go through all of my code, and every time that DEF FNR line was there, I'd have to replace it with an actual function. And if you recall, I didn't know how to write actual functions back in the day. And so I'd have to hack my programs just to get them to work, and I don't want to do that. This is adventures in old code. I don't want to have to modify the code just to run it. Apparently, code will run, it will just ignore this. So QB64 is not an option either. So for my final test, I'm going to do this. One second. This is a box that I asked my brother if he had held on to from years ago, and this is fantastic because what's in this box, I hadn't opened this box in ever, but this box contains a genuine copy of Windows 98, and I'm going to cover up this. That's the product code be underneath my finger there. So this is actually legit. This is real. I don't like running illegal software. I do have Windows 95, but I don't have a product code for it, and people might laugh at me and go, "What? That doesn't matter. It's been so long. Just run it illegally." If I can, I would rather not. So why is this so exciting? Because I don't know how many of you know, but Windows 98, I'm getting glare there. Windows 98 actually is built on top of DOS. So the great thing about Windows XP and after XP is they weren't built on top of a DOS system. They were a brand new operating system unto their own. And if you remember Windows 3.1, you actually booted into a DOS prompt and your computer ran DOS. And then if you wanted to go into Windows, you would have to type Win. I don't know how many of you remember that, but that was awesome. Typing Win. And then up comes Windows 3.1 and you get your graphical system. But it's DOS running underneath it. And when they went to Windows 95, they still kept DOS as the base operating system. And similarly with Windows 98. So the upshot to all this is Windows 98 should run QBASIC quite nicely. And so what I'm going to do for this next test is I'm going to install Windows 98 through VirtualBox, and we'll see if we can't get QBASIC running on Windows 98 in VirtualBox so that we can actually have these adventures in old code without being reminded that we're on a new computer that can't seem to handle running old code. So that's what I'm going to do right now, and I won't put you through that, so the next time I see you, I will be ready to test this out. So stick around, because it's coming. All right. Thanks for joining me on this adventure in old code with no code. Have a nice day. All right, welcome back. Well, Windows 98 is installed, so let's fire it up and see what we get. Here we go, Windows 98. Now, I'm pretty sure this is not going to look Windows protection error, you need to restart your computer. Huh. Okay. Machine reset. Reset. I don't know. Normal. Come on, Windows 98. You can do it. There we go. Obviously, this doesn't look awesome, but that's okay. We will get there. Oh, this is just firing it up. It's finding new hardware. I'm going to... Okay, we do have a few things. This is actually pretty awesome. It is a small screen, and you can hear the music if you... No, I can't move my mouse. This doesn't quite look that awesome. I don't know what's going on here. Let's reset the machine. So we are going to get full screen mode soon. What VirtualBox does is it just very generic drivers. Oh boy, here we go again. So we get very generic drivers, but for each operating system, if it's a popular enough operating system, what VirtualBox offers, there we go, are what are called guest editions. Yes, I don't really care about that channel. So guest editions are extra drivers that were written for VirtualBox for certain operating systems. So we're going to hope that Windows 98 has guest edition specialty drivers for it. And let's insert guest edition CD image. Could not find it. Download it. Sure, let's download it. Download it. And we are downloading. Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah, so I don't know if we're going to actually put this into an episode because it's just me waiting, but I might want to. Okay. So, yes, we're going to insert it. So why? Media locked. Oh, you know why? I'm going to have to shut down here for a second. Shut down. Okay, the settings, I had the there we go. I had the CD set up to be the one and only CD, but now the guest editions has to be a CD. So here we go. We'll try this again. Okay. That lovely sound. Let's devices, insert guest edition CD. Come on, VirtualBox, you can do this for me. Are we downloading again? Let us go to full screen mode. So I guess... Oh, I lost it again. Well, that's not very nice. It seems like... There we go. Okay. I don't know how to use Windows 98 here. VirtualBox guest editions. Come on. Open it up, I guess. VBox Windows 32-bit. Nope. I cannot see. Linux, Windows 86, AMD 64. What if I just run that? No, this? There we go. Okay. Cannot be installed on this version of Windows. Well, that sucks. Seriously? Come on. Let me do a quick search here. Windows 98 VirtualBox Guest Editions. Come on and tell me what I'm doing wrong here. Oh man, this is going to take a lot longer to set up. The guest editions can't be installed. So, okay, I'm going to have to figure this out later. I thought this was going to be a quick dive in, install the guest editions, and that's all I had to do, but clearly it's not. So, I don't know, this might not appear on the episode. Anyway, we'll see you next time for more adventures in old code. Hopefully, I'll have something for us. All right, well, I've done some more research, and it seems like there are no such thing as guest editions for Windows 98 for VirtualBox. So I did some even more research, and it sounds like these people tried to make some... Oh, I'm not quite straight here. Tried to make some sort of interim drivers, new drivers for modern systems for Windows 98, and it's called Display Doctor. So I did that. I installed that. That was a big bunch of rigmarole. And I also tried some other things, so we'll ignore that. So here we go. Windows 98. Okay. We'll do this. And there we go. So everything was kind of okay. Yeah, this is that Display Doctor. It was kind of okay. I was able to add a CD-ROM, add my files as a CD-ROM. The problem is when I come in here and run QBASIC, that's what I get. So there is something else I can do. For some reason, I can hit Control-C for what's called scale mode, and then this happens. So that seems rather decent. I mean, it's a bit smaller than full screen, but we're still got some issues because when I go into, like, the problem was the I don't know one. I'm getting keyboard issues again. I'm holding it down and I'm not, and it stops. So I'm not sure what's going on there. Control break works in this one, but it's still not as good as I wanted it. And plus it's in a windowed environment, so that gives me even a worse experience. So if we go back to here, Windows 98 wasn't doing it. I tried to play around with some of the other settings in Windows 98. Before I shut this down, there's Windows 98. Windows 98 is great. So the other thing I thought was maybe Windows XP works for some bizarre reason. So here we go. Windows XP does have guest editions, so you get quite a good experience. It's like running it for real. And there you go. So same thing, I added everything here. Boom, and you're kind of, and it was Alt-Shift-Enter to go into full screen, and look at that. And this is even worse. Yeah, it's not good. So this one I could Control C and go into scale mode as well. So that's big. There were a few issues, although the font looks really nice. Already I'm seeing issues with the keyboard. Yeah, it's not responsive. I press up and it's not. Oh, that's because it's just really not responsive. And you get this looks out of whack. Wrong aspect ratio. And again I got, see, I'm not even pressing the key now. And it's still moving around. So there are some big issues with that. So that's no good. Control break works on this one though too. So then I thought, and yeah, well, maybe for some reason I could install DOSBox on Windows XP in Linux. So here we go. Here's my attempt at running DOSBox. No, that didn't work. So I went back to the drawing board. Let's turn off Buy Windows XP. See, modern computing is fun. It does have its fun aspects. You can emulate all these old environments, which is awesome. Okay, so enough of that. I went back into, now this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to run, not that we need a reminder, I'm trying to run this program without the crazy flickering. And it soon, I began to realize that well, I should talk with my mouth not covered up. Screen 12 is 644/80, which is that black part of the screen you see. But QBASIC is showing through the background, which was odd because in an old computer with a CRT monitor, the dimension of the CRT monitor would have been that black area in the screen. And I got to thinking, well, maybe it's the aspect ratio of my computer screen. When it's in screen 12, it has to be 644/80, so that's squarish, 4:3 aspect ratio, I guess. But I think I'm running DOSBox full screen in a different aspect ratio. So maybe if I made them the same, what would happen? So with that, we will see. The other thing that made me think about this is because here is DOSBox in a window, and if I hit Shift F5 to run this program, a brand new window opens up, and it's a different aspect ratio, you can tell. So out of all the options I've done, this is clearly the best. the best at emulating the actual environment, save for the display issues. The keyboard is nice and responsive. Really, that's the only thing going for it. So if I can just fix this display issue. So yes, I can. I can fix this. Well, I think I can fix this. One of the things that DOSBox has is a whack load, let's do it this way, a whack load of options. And I think I've shown this before, maybe even in this video, I can't remember. This is the only video so far that I've done over multiple days, trying my best to figure something out. All this stuff. See, my full resolution is set to 1920 by 1080. The actual resolution will be 1440. That is the same aspect ratio as 640/480. Or at least, yeah, so this suggests that if I do other screen modes, it maybe won't work. But whatever. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. So with that saved, I can actually run DOSBox. You'll notice it's a bit condensed. The screen is not the full screen. But I think that's kind of okay, because, I mean, we can't have everything in life. So here's the test, the final test after, you know, several hours of trying. I don't know, and look at that. Full screen, I don't know, without any stupid bars. Isn't it glorious? I think so anyway. Now, the question is, if I go into a different aspect ratio, is this going to go out of whack on me? I don't know of any. I know screen 8 was a funky one. Screen 8 is a really funky one. I can't even see. There it is. The reason it was off screen was because the vertical resolution of screen 8, I don't know what it is, but it's a lot smaller than 480. So yeah, I don't see any black bars happening. Of course, now I don't know where the other circle is to exit this program, so we'll do that. Anyway, I think that's a wrap. I solved my problem, and we'll, from now on, do it in that aspect ratio, and I'll try and do something funky with the videos to sort of fit everything in there together, but at least we won't get that awful flickering. Oh, let's try one more thing. The other really bad one was D. And I mean, you can't really see it because it's a really silly program. Oh. But the key is there's no blue bars on the side. So awesome. Everything's great. This rules. And it's getting faster. So we will do this next time. Have a nice day, and we'll see you next time for more adventures in old code.